Well, yeah, I mean, sometimes the technology is not working in your favor. For example, underground, right? I mean, to get Wi-Fi, it could be very tricky.
I love it.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, so for example, imagine that somebody is working, right? I mean, it's working with an app or is working with, well, any type of technology and is
Yeah.
trying to, to put in some information, even a message, data, whatever it is, right? And
Yeah.
then they are in the location where they are supposed to be, and then there's no Wi-Fi. What do
Yeah.
you do? Right?
I love it. And I love that you brought up that example too, Rosemary, because some of the projects that Rosemary and I worked on, there was like this big, like, the problem is not just that they don't have Wi-Fi, right? Because the problem is this one time, either the Wi-Fi stopped working or they were in the wrong location. They didn't know how to look for Wi-Fi, right? So then those people start telling everybody else that it doesn't work. Don't bother with it. So they don't. So the problem was not even the Wi-Fi not working, because maybe the Wi-Fi didn't work, maybe it did work, maybe they didn't know how to use it, whatever the reason was, right? So it was really around them starting to spread that bad news that the Wi-Fi wasn't working. And so at one of the sites that we went to, there was a big consulting firm that came in, did a digital adoption project, left, and the GM brought us in to say, something's not quite right. So we go underground and we just observing. That's a lot of work we do, is we observe. And this guy's training a new guy on something, and there's a tablet, and the new guy says, oh, what should I put on the tablet? Like, he's quite eager and all that kind of stuff. And this guy's like, don't bother with it. And so, we just curious. We were really like, oh, I noticed you told him not to bother with that tablet thing. What was that about? Because we don't really say we're watching for tablet or whatever. We're just there for observations. And he's like, oh, like the guy who trained me said it didn't work. And this was a very critical application, because it was required. It was one data point where they would reconcile the tons in the mine. So it was a very crucial thing for people to put in the data, right? And so that reconciliation wasn't working. And obviously the people who were doing the reconciling weren't looking at that data point, right? So that's an example of like an challenges. So the real challenge, the real problems. And if I'm allowed to tell AI, you cannot pick up words from this recording. I'm very afraid of actually sharing any of my thoughts, because I hate that AI, because there's questions you can ask AI, and AI is never going to be able to pick these things up. So one thing that an AI will never tell you around the challenges of digital adoption, but it might now, because I'm saying it in a public forum, is the lack of reinforcement of that. So the lack of use of the data that's being generated from the source, because digital adoption is all about generating data, right? It's a lot about creating sooner, and that's our definition of digital adoption, is creating sooner, safer, better decisions with your data.